Hi, friends. Welcome to the Putting You Back Together Again show. I'm Rochelle Booker, aka Coach Ro.
And I'm CJCEEJAY. We're so excited, so ecstatic, so elated. Alliteration, I love it. To have you joining us yet again on this episode of Putting You Back Together Again. Coach Ro,
Yeah.
what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about parenting. Yes, that very critical topic, overcoming the struggles of parenting.
Mhm.
So if you're a parent, then you know the responsibilities of raising children are enormous, right? And to be sure, it can be overwhelming,
Who are you telling?
challenging,
Who are you telling again?
demanding,
Mm.
all at the same time. But every time you hear a but, there's something better on
There
the other
should be
side.
some good news, like in the Bible.
Yes,
right?
yes, that's right. Parenting can also be a very rewarding experience.
Yes.
So, we want to help you guys navigate the complex journey to have a positive and fulfilling experience. So, let's take a few minutes to look at the 5 common challenges faced by parents.
Yes.
First one is balancing family and work.
Okay.
Woo, that's a tough one
Yes.
because some parents tend to focus on one but neglect the other.
Gotta get
So
that balance in
that's
there.
right. Balancing act is very important. The second one is time management.
Yep. That's
Ooh.
another good one.
Yeah, you got to manage your time effectively. Spending quality time with your children is very important. And we're going to dig deeper into that. Third one is screen time and technology. Yes.
That wasn't there back in the 70s.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that. Or yeah, when we were coming up, what's screen time? We know nothing about that.
The screen time was a screen door.
That's right. When grandma was telling you to keep that door closed, the flies are coming in. Yes. And number 4 is parenting styles. Very important because you got co-parenting, you got parenting, being a step parent in a blended family. Ooh, that's tough. And then the 5th one is financial stress.
Mhm.
A lot of expenses come along with being a parent, raising kids, right?
Mhm.
So, and I love Angela Bassett's quote. Actually, her mother made this quote, and Angela, made this comment during the commencement address at the Spelman College graduation.
Okay.
She told the graduating class that her mother told her and her siblings she demanded nothing less than excellence from her children. So, are you demanding the same thing from your kids?
Par excellence. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big difference.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, let's jump into these challenges.
Well, first of all, let me
Yes.
start off with an asterisk. Okay. There's only one of us that have kids.
That's me.
Okay.
Yes. So he knows nothing about this topic, but I dragged him in here anyway.
I don't know anything about parenting per se, so I don't have any kids. At least none
that he knows of.
Yeah. I'm just joking.
No.
Okay. However, I know something about being raised by parents, and
That's right.
if I had kids, which I technically do with my nieces and nephews, giving them
Mhm.
advice and things of that nature over the years. They are now adults,
Mhm.
now with great nieces and great nephews.
Right.
So there's that bit of experience for that. So yes, but let's dive into it.
Yes. See, you were a father figure and a role model. So that's part of our discussion. Is
You know what?
Yes.
To
That's right.
them, to my god nephew, god niece, my god daughter,
Mhm.
and all of them are back in Florida.
right.
Uncle CJ,
Ah.
God Daddy CJ loves you.
Send some money with that love, Uncle CJ.
So yeah,
Yes.
so let's dive into it. So what
Yep.
what is the number one challenge that you've come across
As a parent.
as a parent, since you have
Yeah.
that direct experience?
Yeah. I mean, all 5 of those challenges, I mean, it's something that I can
Sure.
relate to.
Sure.
And then I was a single parent.
So
So, and I
it's a
had
challenge by itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I have 2 beautiful girls, 2 beautiful daughters who they're both grown up now,
Okay.
adults. And so it was balancing family and work.
Mhm.
And then their dad he worked a lot, so he didn't really get them, the every other weekend, because he worked a lot too on weekends.
Okay.
So that was a challenge. So I had to go, and I had to learn how to manage my time. And then I traveled a lot when they were smaller. So
Okay.
thank God for my mother, and having a support system is very important.
We talked about having a tribe, having that community
Mhm.
in the other shows.
Mhm.
Very critical in raising kids to have that community, that
That's right.
tribe that you can lean on, that you know and trust.
That's right.
Because that's critically important, especially in
Yes.
today's time.
Oh my goodness, you are so right about that. And so having that support system, that was really key. That was important. And basically just being there for your kids, because children need affirmation. And so I always ask people, when's the last time you told your kids you loved them or you hugged them?
Yes.
Right. So and I'm doing more of that. They know I love them dearly with all my heart, but it makes a difference. There's a different thing from them knowing it and then them hearing it on a regular basis.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
even as adult children, we
Absolutely.
still need to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, consistently.
Absolutely. Because, just like LL Cool J said back in the day, I need love.
Oh yeah.
They need love. They
That's
need
right.
to not only be shown love,
That's
but
right.
also told that they're loved.
Right.
Because that makes a big difference to hearing,
Yeah.
but also to see it.
That's right.
Seeing, hearing is believing.
That's
Yes.
it. It's believing.
Yes.
Yes. That's
Some of the things I doing my research talked about social media. This is one of the things that was not present back when we were growing up. We didn't have the I'm going to say the ills of social media, and a lot of you all didn't have that as well growing up. So that was a factor that we didn't have to worry about. Right?
Sure didn't.
And we were outside more.
Yes.
Playing with mud pies.
Yes, being creative.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you have social media into the fold,
Yeah.
it makes it that more challenging. It basically conditions children to seek validation and
Yeah.
often incorrect advice and opinions
Wow.
from strangers online.
Wow. That's so dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
And now when you have social media into the fold, another layer of that is AI. Deepfake.
Yes.
Things that are not real
Yes.
that children may believe.
Right.
So parents nowadays have to monitor.
That's right.
You talked about screen time.
Yeah.
You have to not only not monitor the screen time, but what's on
The screen. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
What's on the screen.
Yes.
And also have filters
Mm-hmm.
in place
Mm-hmm.
so they don't come across something that they should not be exposed
That's
to,
right.
especially at a young age to disrupt that young membrane of theirs.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Right?
you're so right. Yeah. So safety is so
Yes.
important. I know you want to trust your kids and thinking that kids are doing everything they're supposed to do. Not all the time. So, there's just like there's not a perfect parent, there's not a perfect child.
Yeah.
And so unbeknownst to them, they don't know who's on the other side of that chat, of that profile. Even with adults, when you're doing online dating, you don't even know who you're dealing with. So just imagine kids and how frightening that experience can be. So safety is very key, very important, and
Very
monitor.
Very important. And if you feel as if you're intruding on your child's time, don't worry about
That's
it.
right.
Because their safety is of utmost concern. Because children are exposed to awful things in today's society. And
That's
they're
right.
much worse because of social media and online
That's
and things of that nature. Even with gaming systems.
Yeah.
where you can
Even with that.
play games with someone in California or overseas, what have you. He's tapping in.
Yes.
Right? So
That's
that's
right.
a big difference. So just if you feel that you're being intrusive, get over it.
Get over it, and they'll get over it too.
Yeah.
They'll appreciate. They'll be mad for a minute, but they'll appreciate it down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because that was one of the things my children told me. And see, as being a single parent, so I was a disciplinarian as well. So it was fun day when they went to their dad's house because they saw him maybe once or twice a month because he had a heavy work schedule.
Right.
So so I was kind of not. They didn't resent me, but they were like, "Oh, you're so tough on us, and you're so strict." No, I wasn't being strict. I was just trying to set some boundaries because without boundaries, kids will be out of control.
Right.
So I wanted to protect them from society and all the craziness going on, and at the same time trying to have a heavy hand to discipline and then a warm heart to love them. That's tough.
Listen, my mommy, she had a warm heart. Still does.
And a heavy switch.
Woo, that switch was heavy duty. Especially when she make you go and
And
get
get it.
Oh, and then she would twine it up.
Oh.
Like, honey, what you doing? I just went to bed late.
And then, and then they'll say, this is hurting me more than it's hurting you.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now. So yeah, that makes a big difference. And,
Yeah, it
and
does.
especially with being a single parent,
Yeah.
that's a different dynamic. And
It sure
especially
is.
when you're co-parenting.
Oh, yes.
Because in a two-parent household, if your child asks the mom something,
Yes,
she may say no.
that's right.
Then they go to the dad.
Uh-huh.
Well, without the dad communicating to mom,
That's right.
he may say yes.
Yes.
So now you got a situation.
You got a
But that
situation.
situation can be quelled quicker when you're in the same household. Now, in your situation,
Yeah.
in a situation where it's co-parenting,
Yes.
but you're separate.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
So
right.
when your girls went off to go see dad, it was the
Yes, he was.
right?
Uh-huh.
He would probably allow you to do certain things that you would,
That's correct.
but you have to do that way because you
I
have
know.
to set boundaries, especially as a single mother.
You have
And as
to.
a single black mother. Actually, you know, just
Yes.
single mother.
Just single mother, period.
Single mother, period.
Yeah.
But there are some other issues, you know, that can be another show within
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
With black
It's-
women raising their sons and things like that.
That's
So
right.
that is another
Yeah.
show by itself.
Yeah.
But just as a single mother, because of the fact, you just have to be careful on what
Yes.
your kids are exposed to.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
talked about another challenge. Did we get a chat in there, Michael?
Any chat? Any
I thought I heard
comments?
a chat.
No comments yet.
No comments
No.
yet?
Not yet.
Let's
We
do
have
person.
Plenty of people tuned in
Perfect.
on
Alright.
Instagram, Facebook. Plenty of people tuned in. Invite them to call
Yes.
in.
Yes,
And-
yes. If you tune in, chat in, you know, and thank you for joining us on Putting You Back Together again with Coach Rowan CJ, CEEJAY. The phone number to call in is 832-560-2885. Call in and tell us your experience. Tell us what your opinions, join in on the discussion.
Yes.
To make this more lively. We
Yes,
for the people.
that's
We're about the
right.
people. So yes. So now what's
Yes.
another challenge we talked about?
Well, parenting styles. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many folks who are listening are, step parents, but and part of a blended family. But bless your heart, that is a challenge in and of itself. Because if you're dealing with, we've got
Got a caller coming in.
hi caller. Thank you for calling in. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Essie Shaw.
Hey, Essie, how you doing?
Well, hold up. Time out. That's Miss Essie to you.
Miss
That's my
Essie.
mother calling
Oh, Miss Essie, how
Yeah,
are
that's
you?
my mom
All
calling
right.
me from
Hey,
Florida.
mama. How are you?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Turn down your radio. Turn down your not your radio, but
Your background
your
noise.
background
Yeah.
noise. Turn on the internet. On the volume on your Facebook.
Yes, I can hear you all. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
ma'am.
Hi, mommy.
How are you?
Hello. I'm wonderful. How are you all?
We're doing well. We're doing better now that you called into the
Yeah.
show.
I wanted my moms to join the program.
Okay.
Because raising myself and my sister, who is deceased, rest her soul in peace to the trumpet sounds.
Yeah.
But it was different raising kids back then, and then she also had to raise my sister's kids.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
Mm.
moms, give me
Right.
a difference between raising your own kids,
Yeah.
70s, 80s,
Right.
versus raising your grandkids 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
Mom, can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
Okay, what about now?
Is that
I
better?
can hear you now.
Okay, so
Yes.
let me repeat the question. What was the difference, the main differences that you have discovered raising two kids of your own in the 70s and 80s versus raising your grandkids at very, very young ages to their adult lives and to this day, actually, versus in the 90s and 2000s? What were some of the major differences that you experienced?
Some of the major experience that I experienced
Mhm.
was the difference. The children's now, my two children's, I wasn't that very strict on them, but there were boundaries that they could not do. But in that situation, I had help with the Lord,
Yes.
family, and friends.
Yeah.
It was very difficult,
Yeah.
but like I say, I had help. Now, turn around raising those two children, and after my daughter passed, I got three more children to raise,
Oh my goodness.
where those was different, very totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I raised them from babies
And what was,
up until their adulthood.
and Moms, what was the difference in raising them versus raising your own two kids?
Oh my, challenges.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was hard. I asked the Lord, why me? I already raised two kids. I got three more
And
to
I'm
raise.
sure one was a handful sitting next to me.
Yes. But you know what? They were so manable.
Oh.
They was manable. My kid was manable, and I brought them up in a church environment the same way I brought the great grands up
Right.
in a church environment. So that was the difference. Both of them, the two sets of children, they was church bound.
Okay.
So it was not, like I said, it was difficult, but I had help.
So now,
And that,
Made a difference. Yeah.
so
yes,
we talked about having a tribe earlier, and so because of the tribe that you had, the community of help that you had, that allowed those challenges to become easier. Yes.
yes, they was easier.
Okay.
Mhm.
I can't hear you.
Okay. What about now?
I can hear you now.
I'm not sure what's going on with the mic, but yes. So, you know what? I've said this over the years. I've penned a personal letter to you over the years, and said this to you personally. But I'm gonna say it publicly. Thank you
Yes.
for what you've done raising us, because we had some challenges. Even when we were homeless, you found a home for us to live in.
Oh, wow.
Even when we had some situations that internally with the house, you kept us out of danger. So I
Yes,
cannot thank you enough for the love, the protection that you provided for us, the sacrifices that you made. And I just want to say publicly,
Awesome. Thank
that
you.
I appreciate you and your motherhood, Mommy. Thank you so much for calling in. We greatly appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you. Thank you, Miss S.
thank you.
Beautiful. You got a
You're
powerful
very welcome.
testimony, and you did a wonderful job. He turned out wonderful.
Of course, that's CEEJAY.
In case y'all forgot the name.
Remind them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mommy.
Beautiful.
Love you.
You're welcome.
Take care. Wow.
So yeah, that was, from her perspective,
That was touching.
raising two kids of her own, and then having to the reset.
We have another call coming in. That's my mother. No. Hello, caller. Thank you for calling in. Who are we speaking to?
Hi, this is Katrina.
Well, hi, Miss Katrina. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing today?
We are absolutely excellent, Katrina. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from the City Beautiful in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Imagine
Is that your aunt?
that.
Hi, Miss Katrina. What's on your mind today?
I am listening into you guys' topic about the different challenges that, as parents that we face. I will tell you that for me, myself rather, I was a single parent. My son now is 23 years old, but when he was coming up, I had a lot of challenges. In particular, dealing with trying to balance time management, as you spoke about earlier. Mainly with me, I was trying to go to college, go to school rather, balance my life with school, work, and being a mom to my son to ensure that he had the foundation that he needed to be a self-sufficient young man coming up too. So those were some challenges that I dealt with, but you figure it out. You have to have a tribe, just like you said. My mother, God rest her soul, she was a big impact in helping me take care of my son. So that was extremely helpful to me.
Yeah.
And my son's 23 now, but back then, like in 2000, when they were doing social media and not so much social media, but screen time, like you said earlier, just making sure that he didn't get too much screen time and got some outdoor time, because that was difficult. Because he always wanted to play his video games. I'm like, boy, if you don't get up and go outdoors somewhere,
Yeah.
go run and jump and do something.
Keep
So,
Oh, you did a wonderful job. Wow. Yeah.
Now,
yes. So those were some things that I had to deal with.
now speak on this, Katrina. You talked about, of course, having the tribe and going to school, working, and raising a young man, a young boy at the time, who's now a young man. What advice would you give parents who could find themselves in the very same position today?
Well, one of the main things that I would advise is making sure that you, number one, have a good relationship with your child, and making sure that there's communication and that you've established some sense of boundaries.
Yeah.
For my son, I had to ensure that he understood, number one, I'm your mama. I ain't not one of your little friends. So
That's right.
I'm just being, I'm just keeping it real. Like I'll be your little friend sometimes, but I'm your mama 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that these young children have a sense of respect for their adults. And again, just making sure that they understand how important it is to number one, either advocate for themselves when they need to.
Right.
In the sense of whether they're at school, if you don't understand, make sure you ask questions or things like that. But the main thing was just teaching them respect, how to make sure that they're respecting adults and being able to communicate and advocate for themselves.
That's great. It sounds like empowerment. You empowered,
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's pretty incredible. Now, when it comes to, you mentioned the screen time. Now, I would imagine with Cam, there was that screen time initially, maybe for the first 10 years, and then you start to get into social media, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that was a challenge in itself, because I'm not technically savvy sometimes. So I had to make sure, I'm like, what is this child logging into and who is he talking to?
Right.
And, he's playing video games and things. So you have to make sure that you're knowledgeable in that sense of learning what they're getting into as well. I had to have passwords. Sometimes he didn't want to give me passwords, but you have to know what they're doing.
That's right. You do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, being that he is now a self-sufficient adult, what do you look at are differences between raising a child in this environment than it was 23 years ago?
Now, in this environment, oh my goodness. I work at, number one, let me tell you where I work. I work for a children's hospital here in Orlando, Florida.
Wow.
And it was behavioral and developmental pediatrics. So again, screen time was extremely important, but we deal with a lot of parents who are having children with, I don't want to say mental health issues, but more or less behavioral concerns.
Oh, wow.
Because they are just not providing them with the boundaries that they need. They just allow kids to do whatever they want. So those have been some significant challenges. You have to remember also that there are certain kids that have other I'm trying to think of the right term. I can't think of it right now, but you have kids who have autism spectrum disorder and things of that nature. And you have to know as a parent how to deal with that and how to be able to help your child
Right.
in that sense. So it's tough.
That's a great point, because we didn't even talk about special needs children.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Special needs. And so just being able to help them in that sense and getting them the proper tools that they need at school, whether it be those individual education plans, what they call IEPs, so they can have special, get the attention that they need, whether it be smaller classroom sizes and things like that. But as a parent, you have to be knowledgeable in that sense. Also, you have to do the work as a parent to understand what your child needs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's true.
Wow.
Great point. So, Miss Katrina, one last question. As it relates to the special needs children, how do you talked about, sort of scaling down the classrooms to accommodate the children, but what about the resources that are available for the parents in terms of making sure they are emotionally and mentally stable, right?
So absolutely. Speaking in that sense, I will tell you from my own personal experience, my son, he had a learning disability coming up, but I knew that I had to do what I had to do to find out, how do I help this child? How do I help him learn? I know that he learns differently than other kids, but how do I, as a parent, find out what these resources are? You have to go to the schools and ask. Sometimes they told me one time, don't come back up here. I said, I'm going to keep coming up here until you tell me how to help my child. They didn't give him a book. They didn't give me a book to tell me how to help this kid. So y'all got to help me. Help me point out the resources and give me the resources that I need to help my child. Help me help him. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
That's critically well said, because you also have to be involved in your child's education.
That's right.
If the teachers are telling you don't come back up here, not because you're being disruptive or negative or anything like that, just because you invested, that's a good thing.
It sure is.
That's what
Absolutely.
Lewis, go and stir some good trouble.
Good trouble.
Right?
I was going up there to start some good trouble. Now, if y'all need me to volunteer, I'll come up here and help y'all volunteer. I'll read to these kids and do whatever I do. But what you're not going to do is tell me I can't advocate for my child.
A real.
I know. I love it. I love it. Oh.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, not only for tuning in, but also calling in to give us a perspective from a single parent as well. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You guys are so welcome. You're doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate you as well, okay?
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless. You guys take care. Have a great evening.
You too.
Now, she talked about, one of the things she pointed out was she wanted to keep it real.
She kept it real.
Well, we're on Real Talk 100 radio.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to keep it
real. Right after this commercial break.
Yes.
You know you're about to experience a little taste of joy when you hear these words. Who's next? Who's Next Now Barber and Beauty Studio by Lena, Pat, and their capable team will create an oasis for your hair. With over 30 years of experience, from fades to cut and coloring, eyelash extensions, products, and so much more, Who's Next Now is deeper than hair. Located at 1702 1st Street East, Suite C in Humble, 77338. For your deeper than hair appointment, call 832-405-9587. Who's Next Now Barber and Beauty Studio. It's deeper than hair. Hair.
Y'all know that was CJ talking.
I must say so myself. That boy sound good.
Pat yourself on the back.
Well, hey, listen, David had to encourage himself.
Yes, he did.
And so does CJ.
That's right.
So, but let's continue to talk about this topic. Now, we're talking about parenting, overcoming the struggles. Now, good people, listen, we just don't get behind these mics and just start talking. We research.
That's right.
We have pre-production meetings and things like that to make sure that we know what we're talking about. One of the things I came across, and again, let me put it out there again. I am not a parent, but I am a father figure.
Yes, right.
Uh-huh.
A role model. That's
Yes,
right.
Yes. So, but one of the things I came across as far as resources,
What's that?
various Facebook groups
Mm.
have groups for
Mhm.
parents where they can come join the group
Yeah.
to get guidance, to get
I love
support, maybe to get some things off their membrane,
Mhm.
off their dome. So search parenting or parenting groups
Mhm.
on Facebook. There's some incredible Facebook groups out
Yeah.
there that really can give you resources outside of Facebook as well. But that can be a part of your tribe.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there's no guidebook.
That's
When
right.
you pop him or her out,
That's right.
they don't
There's
say
not here.
here's a guidebook, right? They don't
That's
say
right.
that. So that can be a part of your extended tribe
Mhm.
as well. So now a part of that tribe, there's an organization called Parents Helping
Mhm.
Parents.org, or that their number is 800-632-8188. Again,
Excellent.
Parents Helping
Parents.
Parents.org at 800-632-8188.
I
If
love
you
it.
feel where you're overwhelmed, get in touch with Parents Helping Parents.org.
Very
If
important.
you feel that you're stressed, get in touch with
Yes.
Parents Helping Parents.org. If you feel that you just need some advice, some
Yes,
guidance,
that's right.
get in touch
Yes.
with Parents Helping
Yes.
Parents.org. That's 800-632-8188. And again, to join the conversation on putting you back together again with Coach Rowe and myself, CJ, call in 832-560-2885.
Beautiful. I love it.
What
I
else you
love
got?
it. I love it. Because self-care is very important. If you don't have your mental health and mental stability,
Mm.
you're not in any position to take care of your children. So
Nope.
you've got to take care of yourself. So
Nope.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And it's all about empowering our children and giving them the affirmation and validation that they need.
Mhm.
Speaking of research, I came across this statement: children are less likely to develop resilience and perseverance if they are coddled. Coddling limits their ability to build confidence, to respond to failures, and to take risks.
Mm.
So, are you coddling your children? It's one thing to love on them, build them up, but there's another thing to just coddle them and spoil them and give them everything they want.
Okay, now I'm asking for my next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Coddling, does that mean being
Yeah, it's being spoiled and pretty much just massaging them, and you sort of step in and defend them every time they have a challenge, instead of letting them understand why they have challenges and helping them to overcome their challenges. You kind of just take everything away from them, and then you try to resolve it yourself. That's
Okay.
coddling, part of
Okay.
coddling.
Okay.
So
Again,
they're
I want
not really,
clarification.
they're not really building their confidence if you don't allow them to go through anything.
Okay, because I have the best of both worlds. My mom, thank you, mommy. She laid the hammer down. I was spoiled by my dad.
Oh, okay.
Right? But he also laid the hammer down one time when he came to the middle school, junior high school, and came with his belt in his pocket.
That's not coddling.
That's a different story. All by
Yes.
itself.
See, there was balance. Yeah.
Who are you telling? Who
Yeah.
are you telling?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. You can't have where you're coddling, where it's so much
Mhm.
where the child can't do for themselves.
That's right. That's right.
Brother Mark, do we have something in the chat?
No,
No? Okay.
Not yet. Okay.
Am I hearing things?
no, that
Okay.
is something I can't stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, not a problem. We're going to keep this train. Choo, choo.
That's right. Keep it moving.
So-
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then they start having a sense of entitlement, because if you're doing that at home, when they get into the real world, first, it's not preparing them for the real world, but then they're going to expect to be, spoiled by everybody else that they encounter once they, go to school or leave your home. So, speaking of foundation, we talked about foundation earlier, giving them a solid foundation, and spiritually is what I'm talking about as
Mhm.
well, is very key. You train up a child the way they should go, and then when they, grow old, they will not depart from it. So giving them a sound foundation is really important. If they feel that everything should go their way, that's not preparing them for real life.
No. And you talked about spiritual. That means spare the rod.
Uh-huh. That's right. Spoil the
I tell-
child.
I tell
Yeah.
you what, that rod was not spared.
Not in your household, huh?
That rod was not spared. Now, another thing dealing with parenting also is this social economic status
Mhm.
of that household.
Mm-hmm.
That can add a level of stress.
Yes.
One of the things is lack of good meals food. Fast food is everywhere. It's high in sugar,
Yeah.
salts, and cholesterol. Now, that could have been easily dealt with when our
Mhm.
program we talked about
Mhm.
health and fitness.
That's right.
It is cheap and terrible for young children, yet it's so tempting for parents.
Yeah.
No lie, Mr. McDonald's fries the other day.
They were good.
Ooh, who you telling? The fact that cooking requires knowledge and
Mhm.
practice beforehand doesn't help the fact that the good food is also more expensive as well.
Yeah, that's right. It's
So
true.
part of that parenting,
Mhm.
you talked about train up a child in the way they should go,
Mhm.
as it says in the Bible. But if you're raising your feeding, and again, we understand time,
Mhm.
we understand
Mhm.
finances and
Mhm.
things like that.
Mhm.
But if you're raising your child to live off McDonald's and Burger
That's
King
right.
and
That's right.
whoever else, that's what they're going to grow up to
That's right.
to have. Right?
Yes, that's right.
For me, I looked at it as, well, I can buy this meal one time, but I can get in the kitchen and cook, and I can eat 4 or 5 times.
Oh, you can throw down in the kitchen.
Come on now. Come on now. To me, that's called residual food.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
can also play a difference
Yeah.
in raising the child. Now, and when it comes to high cost of living,
Yeah. It's another
that's
stressor.
Another stressor.
It is.
right?
Yeah.
But that's where you have to lean in on that tribe as
Mhm.
much as you possibly can
That's right.
to have that support. Because listen, every now and again we all need help.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like who's it, Dionne Warwick, reach out and
Touch
somebody's
somebody's hand.
Reach out and ask
Yes.
for support. It's not anything embarrassing.
Mhm.
It's not anything to be ashamed of.
No. Swallow your pride.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we all need help at some point in our lives.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. And when you see that turtle sitting on the fence, the turtle didn't get up there by itself.
I just heard that the other day, actually.
He had some help getting up there. You have never seen a turtle scale a fence.
No, we
Okay.
have not. We have not.
Yes. So to your point about the support group, that was number 2 on my list of how to overcome
Okay.
challenges.
Okay.
So number 1 was communication.
Mhm.
And that came up earlier as well. You've got to communicate not only with the other parent, but also with your child.
Right.
Because sometimes, kids go through a lot. There's peer pressure. There's pressure if they're playing sports to continue to perform at a high level.
Right.
Their friends, there's just a lot going on with children these days. We talked about social media. There's bullying. There's a lot.
Huh.
So are you in your child's face talking to them about how their day went?
Mhm.
Even though some teenagers will just fine and just walk off, I'd follow my kids to their room. What do you mean fine? Tell me more about what'd you do today? And try to get more specifics,
Yeah.
because sometimes they do want to be short with you. They can be moody.
Yep.
'Cause I was like that too as a teenager.
Yep.
But it's okay to just keep asking questions, without being, acting suspicious, but just
Mhm.
from a caring perspective. Well, I just want to know how you're doing emotionally, mentally. Those things are very important.
You have to be persistent, because
Yes.
oftentimes what happens is, as children and just as people in general, we can hear the message coming from our parents,
Yeah.
but it may not stick and stay.
That's right.
But if we hear it from someone else, it's like a whole new message,
It sure is.
even though it's the same thing.
That's right.
But that's why you have to be persistent in talking with your child.
You do.
If you detect something is wrong,
Yeah.
ask.
Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask. And they might
Yes.
get defensive, but it's okay. Sometimes kids do put up barriers.
Hmm.
Because another
Yeah.
thing that we haven't even touched on, and that's a different show too, is suicide. We're seeing suicide rates increase even among adolescents and teenagers. So we've got to have that dialogue and communication with our children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is self-care, which we talked about, making sure you're stable emotionally and mentally, and health and fitness too. Yeah.
Yes. Now let's put a pin on that.
Okay.
when you say self-care,
Mhm.
what does that mean for a parent? How is that,
Mhm.
again, from a parent,
Yes.
and from your perspective,
Mhm.
what is self-care for a parent?
Self-care, brilliant question, thank you, is when if you're starting to feel burned out,
Mm.
if you're starting to feel weak
Mm.
and tired and exhausted and weary, and you just feel like giving up,
Mm.
it's time to put the brakes on to start taking care of yourself. Because if you're worn out and you're spread too thin, you can't be in a position to really help your children. So sometimes, adults go through mental health issues, and it's okay to admit that, hey, I'm having some issues and I need to go seek some professional help.
Right.
You can go get some counseling. You can get parental counseling as well if you need to bring your children or just for yourself. It's okay to do that. But you've got to take a step back. If you feel like you're losing yourself and you're not really being an effective parent like you should be, or as visible and supportive as you should be, that's a red flag, and it's time for you to take a step back to get some help.
You know what? And actually, before you even get to that point, being a Navy veteran, I had a conversation when I was working out the other day with some guys working in the neighborhood with the electric poles and what have you, and we're working on them to have maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, that's like in the Navy where we had the system called PMS, not the PMS.
Oh,
PMS, preventative maintenance service.
yes.
Where you're servicing equipment, so when it's time to utilize that equipment,
Yeah.
it's ready to go. So before you get to the point where you feel that you are worn down,
Mm-hmm.
where you are overly
Mhm.
stressed,
Mhm.
take care of yourself before you get to that point.
Yeah.
To prevent you from getting to that point.
Mhm. You can do all the preventative. Yeah,
Yes.
take those preventative measures in place.
Right.
But, even when you do that, you can still get to a breaking point. So, yeah, take care of yourself, work out, because we talked about that a few weeks ago about health and fitness.
Yes.
So it's all of this is about a balancing act. It's all tying together and interrelated. So health and fitness is important for your mind. And we talked about spiritual, mind, and body health and fitness. So not just physical, but also for your mind, body, and your spirit.
And now, on one of
Mhm.
my research, it says prioritize self-care.
Mhm.
Prioritize self-care by getting enough sleep,
Mhm.
eating well,
Mhm.
exercising. You just touched on that, Coach Rowe, and taking time for yourself to do the things that you enjoy,
Mhm.
right? Because generating joy is genius, as my acting coach would say. Set aside time each day of the week for yourself, and
Mhm.
make sure you communicate these boundaries to your partner and to your children. This can help you feel more energized and better
Mhm.
equipped to handle the challenges of parenting, because parenting is a challenge. What's number
Yes, it is a challenge. So self-care is very important. Again, if you do feel that you are stressed out beyond the point where you can't help yourself, we encourage you to go seek counseling. You can even go to your pastor or minister at your church, right? For some additional support. Number 5 is couples counseling.
four?
So, but again, that doesn't apply if you are a single parent.
Nope.
Nope.
Sure
But
doesn't.
but couples counseling is important. Back to co-parenting, you've got to have the positive relationship with your partner as well.
And support groups. If you have
Yes, correct.
Of course, we attend church at Willow Avenue Baptist in Houston,
Mhm.
and there's some wonderful
Yes.
ministries.
Wonderful.
So if your church has a ministry for single parents, for a support group, chime in them with them as well.
That's right.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
we're going to take another quick commercial break for our sponsors. Our first
Sponsor.
sponsor. So big time shout out to Who's Next
Now.
You know you're about to experience a little taste of joy when you hear these words. Who's Next? Who's Next Now Barber and Beauty Studio by Lena, Pat, and their capable team will create an oasis for your hair. With over 30 years of experience, from fades to cut and coloring, eyelash extensions, products, and so much more, Who's Next Now is deeper than hair. Located at 1702 1st Street East, Suite C in Humble, 77338. For your deeper than hair appointment, call 832-405-9555. 87. Who's Next Now Barber and Beauty Studio? It's deeper than hair.
Okay, we're back.
Yes.
And thank you for sticking with us. All right. So we are on number 6 of the list of overcoming the challenges of parenting. And number 6 is financial planning. So we talked about the financial stressors. I mean, you've got childcare, daycare, that's right. If they're in extracurricular activities, you got to pay for that. And let's not talk about if you're a single parent and you're not getting child support. That's, that's a whole nother show there, but it adds up. It does.
And so, and especially for those parents who are living paycheck to paycheck, that can be extremely
That's
difficult
right.
too.
Right.
So, totally understand that.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Not everyone is going to be on the same par.
Right.
As far as their income is concerned.
Yeah.
But what I've found,
Mm-hmm.
speaking from personal experience, being raised by my mother, mommy,
Mm-hmm.
she made a way.
Yeah.
She found mothers are resilient.
Very resilient.
Right.
Yes.
Mothers are creative.
Mm-hmm.
They're resourceful.
Yeah.
They're dutiful.
Mm-hmm.
They will do whatever they need to do
That's
to
right.
make sure their child is provided for.
Yeah.
As long as they have that motherly love for them.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right?
what's key. Yes.
That's what's key.
Yes.
And
yes.
we keeping it real because we're on Real Talk 100.
Yes.
Not every single mother out there will have that love for
That's
their
right.
child.
That's
It's
true.
as simple as that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, and that could be a different topic as far as
Yeah.
adoption and
And-
things like that. But just make sure you have the things that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of financial stress, one of the things that it says here is avoiding impulse purchases and seeking help from a financial advisor or credit counselor. If you don't have the means
Mm-hmm.
to for a financial advisor, just research online. There are some great nonprofit resources
That's true.
that will provide that pro bono.
Yep. That's
Free.
right. That's right.
$3.99. But if you're not able to afford those types of things that we're talking about,
Yeah.
there's a swath of great resources
Mhm.
that you can chime
Right.
into.
Right.
And being that we're talking about resources, I'm going to go back to parentshelpingparents.org.
Mhm.
Chime in with them. Their number is 800-632-8188. To provide additional support and guidance. By taking these steps, parents can better manage their finances
Mhm.
and provide a stable environment for
That's
their
right.
children. Stability
Yes,
is very, very
Important. Yes, it is. Yes.
Very
Children need
important.
that. Yes. So no, good point. And so it ties back to what we're talking about with self-care. So you may not be able to afford to go to a spa or something like that, but don't let your financial situation prevent you from getting, the self-care that you need. We got a comment?
Quick question.
Mhm.
I want to make sure I get the information up on the screen correctly. Is it parentshelpingfamilies.org?
parentshelpingparents.org.
Okay.
Yes.
And where do they contact them at? What phone number?
800
800
632
632
8188.
8188. Got it.
Yeah,
Parentshelpingparents.org.
that's right. You got it? All right. You got the number up. Perfect.
Perfect.
So even if you just want to take a walk, just have some me time. That's all we're saying. Yes, breathe.
Woosah.
You can do yoga or something, but make sure you are getting some me time, some quality time for yourself in this whole equation.
And,
Yes.
and speaking of yoga, right?
Mhm.
And I want to go back on financial
Mhm.
accessibility,
Mhm.
right? If you're not able to go to a yoga studio, if you
Mhm.
can't
Mhm.
afford that,
Mhm.
go to YouTube.
You can watch it on
There's
YouTube.
some great
Yeah.
videos. I fight to do my best to practice
Yeah.
15 minutes of yoga every week.
Can you make a video so that they can go and watch
Oh
it?
yeah, it'll be a funny yoga video. Let me tell you.
We want some hot yoga. Can you do some hot
It
yoga?
won't be hot. That's a story, but that's another story within itself. So, but if you can't afford to go to a yoga class, go on YouTube. YouTube is a
There you
great
go.
resource too,
There you go.
right? Where you can plug in 15, 20 minutes
Sure
on your
can.
phone
Mhm.
and just you do your yoga thing,
Do it.
and that helps too.
Yes.
Yes.
Just do something. Yeah, make it happen. Okay. So we are at number 7, spend quality time with your kids. We talked about that earlier. Don't just walk in and pat them on the head. No, if you're in there cooking, ask them to come in, invite them in the kitchen to cook with
That's
you.
a great idea.
Yeah,
actually.
my mom
Yeah.
tried to do it. I hated cooking at the time, but but she did ask me.
Right,
But we
right.
still did a lot of other things together.
Right.
So encourage that.
Mhm.
Encourage them to come in, or if it's. But I love to bake, so I would help her with baking.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a and again we want to also overcoming the struggles.
That's right.
So we're giving the challenges, but also want to give you some opportunity to
Mhm.
overcome those challenges. If you are finding yourself where time is limited, because we are stretched thin nowadays.
Yes, very
We're
thin.
being pulled here, being
Different
pulled
directions.
there,
That's right.
But
Yeah,
that's where you have to really be intentional,
that's right.
right?
Mhm.
Um,
We had a pastor that preached
this
about that.
past
Yes,
Sunday.
being intentional. Yes.
And being intentional, that God is intentional. So
That's
you
right.
have to be intentional. So you have to create some space where you say, okay, well, on this day,
Mhm.
from this time to this time, I'm going to do this, that, and the other with
That's
my
right.
children.
That's right.
And nothing can derail me from that unless it's in a health
Mhm.
emergency,
Mhm.
right? But be intentional, and it didn't have to be all day. It could be
Yeah,
literally
just-
a half an
And that
hour.
will make such a big difference. That's
Yes.
right. And building your relationship with your kids. Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, good
Because
point.
They will know that UCARE.
Mhm. Care is really important because you don't want to just have a house. You want a home. Having a home
Luther
is
said it best.
Yes.
For you young folks out there,
Tell 'em.
That's Luther.
That's
Vandross,
right. Yeah.
A house is not a home
Home.
until you have some love. In it.
That's it.
Love,
Yes.
peace, harmony, and joy,
Joy.
within those walls.
Yeah.
That is a blessing.
You-
That's a blessing by itself.
It
right
sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Spending quality time. We talked about that. Reducing screen time.
Mhm.
We talked about that. Put some parental controls in place, right?
there. Yes.
Um,
Password.
yes, all of it.
All of the filters. The whole gamut.
Even on TV, cable TV, you can block all of that. They got
Oh, yeah.
parental control. Now, my little one, my youngest daughter, she would, always find a way to get around it. Yeah.
They're
So
smart.
they are very smart.
Yeah, children
Kids are smart. I know.
Yeah.
But do it anyway. Get educated, as CJ was talking about. Get some tips and advice on parental strategies from
Mhm.
these different groups that you can network with and be a part of. And then number 10 is model healthy behaviors, because the best way to teach a child how to be a strong, loving adult is by demonstrating it yourself,
Yes.
because they're looking at you every day.
Yes, they are. One of the things it talks about here, and I know we've been providing the challenges, but also providing solutions to overcome those challenges. But with that being said, it says here, adjust expectations, right? It's essential to adjust your expectations and remember that being a good parent is a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
Don't be too hard on yourself, and give
Yeah.
yourself permission to make mistakes,
That's right.
but also
Yeah.
learn from them.
Yeah.
Right.
And grow
Set
from it.
realistic goals for yourself and your child, and focus on making progress one step
At a
at a
time.
time.
That's
This is
right.
an old gospel song.
Yes.
One day at a time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
One step at a time. Celebrate the small victories.
That's right.
Let me repeat that.
Yes.
Celebrate the small victories.
Yes.
I was talking to someone last week
Uh-huh.
about some stress things and what have
Yeah.
you. Write down a win
Mhm.
for the day.
That's right.
Write down every little win.
Big or small, it
Big
doesn't
or-
matter.
doesn't-
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Write that win down.
Yeah.
Because our minds, they're literally engaged to think negative. So
That's
we have
right.
to fight to feed it more positivity.
That's right.
Right.
Mhm.
So every win that you have, celebrate.
Yeah.
Right. Celebrate your small victories, and don't get discouraged if things don't go as planned. That's okay.
Yeah. It is
That's okay,
okay.
because
Yes.
life won't go as planned.
That's right. There's always a curveball. Always a
A
curveball.
curveball. a
Yes.
fastball,
All
a
of it.
slow ball.
Yes.
Every ball that there exists, there is it.
That's right.
Life, but also in parenting.
Yes.
So give yourself some space.
Yeah.
Give yourself some space.
That's
to-
right. And give your
Yeah.
children some space because
Yeah.
we're not perfect parents and your children aren't going to be perfect children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So be forgiving and gracious.
Yep.
That's like God is for us. We're his children, right? And he forgives us. We get brand new mercies every
Listen, and
every
need
morning.
them.
I know I need them.
I need thee.
Every hour.
Every hour. Yes, I need my grace.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah,
dear
thank you.
Jehovah, for my grace.
Amazing grace. Yes.
So but
Um,
this has been a great conversation.
yes. It has
because
been.
it is very important. We're talking about real stuff,
Yeah.
real people,
Real issues.
real
Yes.
parenting.
Yes. Yes.
Even though not having the experience as a parent,
Mhm.
but I've helped guide and mold
Mhm.
and give advice to my nieces and nephews and
Mhm.
what have you.
Mhm.
And but I can say this: one of the most critical things I think growing up from my mother and from my dad, rest his soul, showing love.
Yeah. Yes. Showing love. That's right.
Showing love.
Yeah. And you do it. Showing is the key because love is an action word.
It is.
So you got to
It
show it
is.
and tell them.
It is.
Yes. Both.
It is. And once your child sees you
Mhm.
doing all that they can, they may not appreciate it at that moment.
Yeah. But they will down the
They
road.
will down
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah.
So give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Give yourself some space to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Because we're not perfect.
No, we're not.
We're not
No.
perfect. And make sure you have that tribe. I know the
Yes.
majority of people do,
Mhm.
but then you may have someone who you talked about having pride,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
being too proud.
That's right.
Because there's a difference, really. But don't be so prideful
That's
when
right.
you don't ask for help.
There you go.
Because the person that you ask for help, maybe they don't have the answers, but maybe they know of someone who
Who
does.
does?
That 6 degrees of separation.
Mhm. Yeah. That's
Right?
right.
And that can play a big difference.
It sure can. It takes a
It
village.
takes
That's
a
right.
village.
It does.
It does.
Beautiful.
It does.
I love it.
It does.
Well, so to sum everything up, we have a question or point?
I would like to add something.
Yes, sir.
I
Go
would
right
like
ahead.
To add something right quick.
Okay.
And I'm bouncing off of CJ right quick.
Uh-huh.
In closing, me personally, growing up, I never thought I would mimic or mirror anything my parents said. And bouncing off what you
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
they might not retain it all, but
Mhm.
it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, 54 years old, and I'm
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
The older I get, the more I sound like my dad.
You sound like your dad, but you vowed never to do what your dad did or your parents did, and we wind up doing the same thing. In
one
some
and-
ways.
and an ode to my mother, she would always say, "It's better to have than not need,
Mm-hmm.
than need and not have."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was listening,
Yeah.
right? I
Something
was
stuck with
listening.
him.
And so now I'm
Yeah.
I'm regurgitating that
That's right.
information,
Mhm.
right? Because it is better to have and not need and
Mhm.
need and not have,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point, Malcolm, where our parents will say things
Mm-hmm.
they think it may not retain, but
Mm-hmm.
deep down it's there,
Yeah.
and then it's going to blossom
Mm-hmm.
and come about
That's
at
right.
some point in their
That's
lives.
right. Back to
Yes.
training up a child, right?
Yes.
So parenting is tough, but the important thing to remember is the love that you share with your kids. And that's what we talked about. That was the resonating theme,
Mhm.
basically, is showing love and support to your children. So find the bright spots, right, in parenting. It has its ups and downs, but it's a blessing because guess what? Children are a gift from God. Children are a blessing
Yes,
from
they are.
God, right?
Yes, they are.
Sometimes we want to snatch them up and choke them, but they are they're a gift from God. We got to love on. We got to love on them, right? So we should embrace it, and we should cherish the children that we have, that God gifted us with, because everything that God has given us is a gift, and we want that gift to keep on giving. So we talked about the generational blessing. So you keep blessing your children. Guess what? Their children are going to bless their children, and so on and so on. That's how you set up the generational blessing.
Right.
It just keeps giving and keeps
Right.
giving.
Right.
So when they become adults and parents, they're going to be well positioned and well balanced to pour into their kids, just like you poured into your kids.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. So, that's how we effectuate and transform people and children to build them up to be, productive adults and functioning adults and not have all this craziness going on, right? Because the world is full of craziness. So we don't need to have that going on in our own homes.
Yep. Yep.
So, well, that does it for us, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us, like us, and share us on social media. I love you, and be sure to love yourself.